So today I'm going to show you how to make these mini bunny baskets. Easter basket, spring basket, just a fun little catch-all if you like for someone who happens to like rabbits. This can be made easily with any worsted weight yarn. I happen to be using a variety of the silk roving worsted weight yarn from Darn Good Yarn today. But feel free to use whatever 4-weight yarn you are interested in using. Let me give a warm welcome to all my Weaving Wyrd siblings, weirdlings, and just fun people. For those of you who aren't in the know, my name is Sig, and I'm a retired tattoo artist turned active fiber artist and crocheter. And here on my channel, you and I get to create a little magic with every knot. So don't forget to hit the subscribe and like buttons. This doesn't cost you anything, but it does help me provide you with regular tutorials featuring original designs, such as these little mini baskets, classic patterns, and lacy motifs. I'm always interested in your feedback, so feel free to leave your comments and questions below. For today's video, all you'll need is a selection of worsted weight yarns. For today's demonstration, I'm going to be using some worsted weight yarn I have from Darn Good Yarns. This is a silk roving weight yarn by the name of Mist. And then this is a sparkle worsted weight silk yarn that is basically, the colorway is just classic blue. I'm also going to use some scrappy pieces from a couple of other different colorways. I'm going to just use some basic scrap that I have of pink and some basic scrap that I have of white. This is just your standard acrylic, inexpensive bits of yarn that I happen to have lying around, but they are also a 4-weight. Now, in addition to the variety of yarn that you may want to use for yourself, I'm also going to use these 2 buttons. I'm going to use them as eyes. You can certainly use your standard button with little holes in it, or you can embroider your eyes, or you can use safety eyes. Whatever works for you, you can certainly use. I'm just going to use these little black buttons I happen to have on hand. Next, I'm going to need a tapestry needle for some sewing, a stitch marker to help keep my count, and then a basic size G hook. 4mm for those of you who work with metric sizes. Also, I am going to make a pom-pom for the tail. So I have a little pom-pom maker here. You can make your pom-pom any way you want to, or you might already have a pom-pom that'll work just fine. However you choose to do it, that's entirely up to you. This is just what I'm going to be using for this particular project. And then, of course, do not forget your scissors. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. So I'm going to begin the body of this miniature basket. And I'm really just going to start off with 5 single crochets in an adjustable ring. So I'm going to begin by starting my process here, and then I'm going to single crochet 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I'm going to go ahead and tighten up my ring. I'm working in a spiral. So basically what happens is when I finish my first round of 5, I'm going to increase in each stitch for round 2. And when I've completed round 2, I'm going to have a count of 10 completed stitches. So 1, 2, my first increase. 3 and 4, my second increase. 5 and 6, third. 7 and 8, fourth, and then my last stitch, I'm going to place my increase, which for those of you who are a little confused, that's going to be basically 2 single crochets into that same stitch. So now I have completed round 2. I'm going to move on to round 3, and for round 3 I'm going to single crochet and then I'm going to increase. I'm going to single crochet and then I'm going to increase. And when I've completed round 3, I will end with a total count of 15 stitches. So I'm going to begin with my first single crochet, and then in the next stitch I'm going to increase. Right? And I'm going to repeat that pattern 5 times. So that'll be my first, and my second time doing the pattern is going to be my single crochet and then my increase. I'm going to repeat that 3 more times. Okay, so now I've completed round 3. I have 15 stitches. I'm going to move on to round 4, and for round 4 I'm going to single crochet 2 times and then I'm going to increase. And that's going to be the pattern that you follow. You're going to follow that pattern a total of 5 times. I've already done it once. I'm going to repeat this 4 more times, and I will end with a count of 20 stitches for round 4. So again, going to be first single crochet, second single crochet, and then an increase. I'm going to repeat that pattern 3 more times. Okay, so now that I have completed round 4, I'm going to move on to round 5. And the pattern for round 5 is going to be a single crochet 3 times, then an increase. And I'm going to repeat that pattern 5 times. And that will leave me with a total of 25 stitches when I've completed round 5. So quickly, I'll show you. Single crochet, and single crochet for the 3rd time, and then an increase. And that's the pattern I'm going to repeat. Once I've completed round 5, I should have 25 stitches for my round, which I do. I'm going to move on to round 6. Now for round 6, the pattern I'm going to follow is going to be a single crochet 4 and then an increase. So basically, I'm going to have 1 single crochet, 2 single crochet, 3, and then the 4th single crochet. And then in that next stitch is going to be where I place my increase. So I've done that pattern once. I'm going to repeat that pattern 4 more times to make a total of 5 times that I've repeated that pattern. And that will leave me with an end count of 30. So once again, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then an increase. I'm going to repeat that pattern 3 more times. Okay, now that I've completed round 6, I'm going to move on to round 7. Now for round 7, I want to end with a count of 35 total stitches, and I'm going to achieve that by making a single crochet 5 times and then an increase. And that particular pattern I'm going to repeat a total of 5 times. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then my increase. Now I'm going to repeat that pattern 4 more times. Now that I've completed round 7, I'm going to move on to round 8. And for round 8, I'm going to single crochet 6, and then I'm going to make my increase. So I'm going to repeat that pattern 5 times, and that will leave me with an end count of 40. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then my increase. I'm going to repeat that pattern 4 more times, and I'll meet you right back here when I've completed round 8. So now that I've completed round 8, I have 40 stitches total, and I've got the base of my basket of my body. And then I'm going to move on to rounds 9 through 13. So that's going to be the next 5 rounds. I'm simply going to single crochet. So this is a time when I'm going to break out my stitch marker just to make things a little easier. I'm going to place my first single crochet. I'm going to place my stitch marker just as a marker to tell me when I've completed round 9. And then when I've completed round 9, I'm going to move up to round 10, and I'm just going to move my stitch marker with me, and that'll just help me keep count. So from round 9 to round 13, simply going to single crochet in each stitch. And then I will meet you right back here after I've completed round 13. So now I've completed all 13 rounds on both pieces, and this is the basket piece for our bunny basket. As you can just see here, I've put one piece inside of the other, making sure that the inner piece has the right side of the fabric facing me, and then also the outer piece has the right side of the fabric facing me. I'm going to decide how it looks best, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to single crochet those two pieces together. And just match stitch for stitch, tie it in, and do a single crochet for each of the two stitches sandwiched together like so. And then when I've completed making a complete round, I'm going to go ahead and fasten off my yarn and then move to the legs. Okay, so now you can see that I've completed that single crochet all the way around the edge to create one solid basket. And I'm just going to go ahead, I'm going to weave in this tail. And as I weave it in, I'm just going to make sure that I work it in between those two pieces of fabric that have been sandwiched together, just to hide that extra thread. So now moving on to the leg, we're going to start with the hind leg. And so I've created one hind leg. I'm going to show you how to create the second hind leg. Again, just real similar to how we began the basket. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to create an adjustable ring. And then I'm going to single crochet 5 single crochets in the ring. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I'm going to tighten up that ring. And then in the first stitch of round 2, I'm going to increase. And then I'm going to increase each stitch after that for round 2. So that will leave me with a total count of 10 stitches for round 2. So I'm going to repeat this increase 5 times. I've just done it once, and now I'm going to do it 4 more times. So my second increase, my third increase, my fourth increase, and then one more increase, and that leaves me with a complete count of 10 single crochets all the way around my second round. Okay, so now I'm going to move on to rounds 3, and the pattern I'm going to go with is going to be a single crochet plus an increase, a single crochet plus an increase. I'm going to repeat that pattern of a single crochet plus an increase 5 times, and that will give me an end count of 15 when I've completed round 3. Okay, so now I've completed round 3. I'm going to move on to round 4. And for round 4, the pattern is going to be a single crochet 2 times plus an increase. And that pattern I'm going to repeat 5 times for an in total count of 20. So I'm going to begin with my first single crochet, my second single crochet, and then an increase. And I'm going to repeat that pattern 4 more times. Okay, so I've completed round 4. I'm going to move on to round 5. And for round 5, I'm going to single crochet 3 times, and then I'm going to increase. So I'm going to repeat that pattern 5 times. And when I've completed round 5, I will end on a count of 25 stitches. So single crochet, single crochet, single crochet, and then my increase. I'm going to repeat that pattern 4 more times. Okay, so now I've completed round 5. I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to slip stitch in the next stitch. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut myself a long tail for sewing. And now that I have 2 of these, I'm going to set them aside for assembly a little later. So the next thing I'm going to do is I am going to move on to the ears. So I'm using 2 different colors for the ears. The first color I'm going to use is this pink. And then the second color I'm going to use is this blue. So the pink piece and the blue piece, they're both the same pattern. So with the blue, I'm going to show you what that pattern is. So you'll know that if you're using 2 different colors, you're going to use your primary color for 2 of these pieces, and then the color you're going to use as a secondary color for 2 of the pieces. If everything is going to be exactly the same color, then you're going to make 4 of these pieces in the same color yarn. It's pretty simple. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to begin by chaining 11. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then 11. Then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make a double crochet into the 3rd chain from the hook. Next, I am going to double crochet 7 more. So that'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So that gives me basically 9 double crochets, because my chain 3 right here is going to be a stand-in for a double crochet. So now in this next stitch, the last stitch of this row, I'm going to place 5 double crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. And then I'm going to double crochet 9 more times, all the way down the other side of this chain. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then 9 right here at the base. Okay, so now you can see this is what I have, and this is what I want. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the 2 pieces of the ears. I'm going to sandwich them together. The back side of each ear I'm going to face and put together. So I'm looking at the front side of the fabric on each side of the ear. And then I'm going to go ahead and I am going to tie in my main color. And basically what I'm going to do at this point is I am simply going to single crochet each stitch all the way around, and then turn and make a single crochet, about 3 or 4 single crochets along the bottom. And you can decide what that looks like for you. So just basically a single crochet in each stitch all the way around the ear. And now that I've made my round all the way around, I'm just simply going to slip stitch and fasten off. And I'm going to leave myself a long enough tail for sewing, because this is the tail I'm going to use to sew the ear onto my rabbit's head. And as you can see, I now have 2 ears, and I'm going to set these aside. Next, we're going to start on the feet. I have the front paws, and then I have the back feet. And both of these feet start off exactly the same way, and they finish the same way. The only difference is the length. So, for example, the front paws are going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows. And the back paws are going to have 8 rows. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to show you how to do that. I need to make 2 more paws, 1 front paw, 1 back paw. So now with this, I'm going to begin just like before. I'm going to make an adjustable ring. And then I am going to single crochet 5 single crochets. 1, 4, and 5. I'm going to tighten that ring. And then that'll be the completion of round 1. For round 2, I'm going to increase in each stitch. So that will leave me with a count of 10 stitches for round 2. So 1, 2, my first increase. My 5th increase, which gives me a count of 10 stitches. So now, because this is my front paw, I am going to make 3 more rounds of 10. And for my back paws, I would make an additional 6 rounds of 10. So I'm going to go ahead and get those made, and I will meet you right back here. Okay, so now I've got 2 of the feet done, 1 front paw, 1 back paw. The front paw is 5 rounds, and the back paw is 8 rounds. And just like the 2 I already have finished, I'm going to set these ones aside. I'm going to go ahead and lightly stuff each one of these paws, and then I'm going to use some of this yarn that I have here from this tail to whip stitch the paw closed, and I'll do that on each one. So now I have my 4 paws, and I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to set them aside. So next, I'm going to make sure that I have my eyes, I have my stuffing, I have a little bit of pink for the nose, and then also that I have the main colors that I'm going to be using to create the head with. So now for the head, I'm going to start at the nose or the muzzle of the rabbit, and for that I want to start with my lightest color. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to create an adjustable ring. And then I'm going to single crochet 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Tighten my ring. And then I'm going to move on to round 2. And for round 2, I'm going to increase in each stitch. And so when I've completed round 2, I will end with a total count of 10. Okay, so now I've completed my round 2. I'm going to move on to round 3. And for round 3, I'm going to single crochet 2 times plus an increase. Single crochet 2 times plus an increase. So the single crochet 2 times plus an increase, I'm going to repeat that pattern 3 times. And then I'm going to make an additional single crochet in the last stitch for round 3. And that'll give me a total of 13 stitches. So I'm going to begin with a single crochet, single crochet, and then an increase. Single crochet and single crochet, and then an increase. And then one more time, a single crochet and a single crochet plus an increase. Then I'm going to do my last single crochet, and that will be the completion of round 3. Now, round 3, or at the end of round 3, is also when I change colors. So right here you can see I have my, my last single crochet. So I'm just going to go ahead, I'm going to reverse that just a hair. So this is what my last single crochet looks like. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut off that last color, and I'm going to bring in my main color, and I'm going to work my main color into that last stitch, and now I'm ready to begin round 4. So now for round 4, in the first stitch, I want to make an increase. Then I want to single crochet 4. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. I'm going to make my next stitch an increase. And then I'm going to single crochet 4. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Next, I'm going to make an increase. And then I'm going to single crochet in those last 2 stitches. So that is what your piece should look like when you've completed round 4, something similar to that. Now we're going to move on to round 5. And for round 5, I'm simply going to single crochet in each of the next stitches. So basically a single crochet in each stitch. Now that round 5 is completed, we're going to move on to round 6. And for round 6, I'm going to do a pattern. And the pattern is going to be an increase plus a single crochet 3 times. I'm going to repeat that pattern 4 times. So this is going to be my first increase of round 6, and then I'm going to single crochet 3 times. I'm going to repeat that pattern 3 more times. So now my work looks something like this, and yours should too. Now for the next 3 rows, for 7, 8, and 9, simply going to single crochet in each one of these stitches. So I'll meet you right back here when I've completed round 9. Okay, so once you've completed round 9, you should have something that looks like this. I'm going to move on to round 10. Now for round 10, I'm going to increase in the next stitch. Next, I'm going to single crochet 12. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Then I'm going to increase in the next stitch. And then I'm going to finish off round 10 with a single crochet 6 times. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So now next we're going to move on to round 11. And I'm going to begin round 11 by single crocheting 4. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then I'm going to skip the next stitch, and I'm going to single crochet 10. So I'm going to skip this stitch. I'm going to go into the next stitch, and I'm going to single crochet 10. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Then I'm going to skip the next stitch. I'm going to skip this stitch. I'm going to go into this next stitch after that, and I'm going to single crochet. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that should leave you with 20 stitches completed. Now we're going to move on to round 12, and I'm going to single crochet in each stitch for round 12. Now the next thing I want to do for round 13 is I'm going to follow this pattern. I'm going to single crochet 2, and then I'm going to decrease. I'm going to repeat that pattern 5 times. 1 single crochet, 2 single crochets, and then I'm going to decrease. Again, 1 single crochet, 2 single crochets, and then I'm going to decrease. And I'm going to continue. And now I'm going to move on to round 14. And for round 14, I am going to decrease, and then I'm going to single crochet. I'm going to decrease, and then I'm going to single crochet. I'm going to repeat the decrease plus a single crochet 5 times. So again, I'm going to make a decrease, and then I'm going to single crochet. Okay, so now I've completed my round 14. I have my opening. This is an excellent time to stuff your head. And if you're working with safety eyes, this is a good time to place your safety eyes. Now you're going to place your safety eyes at those spots in round 11 where we skipped a stitch. So round 11 has 2 places where you skipped a stitch, and that is the place at which you're going to place your safety eyes. You're going to put them in and around that spot. You'll take a look once you stuff your head, or before you stuff your head, and you'll decide exactly where you'd like those eyes to sit, but that is the general direction. So now, because I am working with buttons for the eyes, I'm simply going to wait until I have the head completed, and then I'm going to sew my eyes into place. Now, once I've got my head stuffed about as much as I want to have it stuffed, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to close this sort of egg-shaped sphere up. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to decrease. So that's 1, 2, 3. I've completed that. I'm going to go ahead and I am going to tie off my end. I'm going to weave in my tail. I'm going to, in this case, I'm going to actually place my eyes, and my eyes will end up somewhere around here. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to stitch in my nose. Basically, you're just making a triangular shape with your yarn, your pink yarn. You may decide to use a safety nose, and that's fine, but basically I'm going to quickly embroider a little pink nose like so onto my rabbit's face. And then as soon as I have my eyes and my nose in place, I will meet you right back here. Okay, so I went ahead and I put on the eyes, and I put a little white around the eyes just to give them a little definition. Here we've got just a little V shape for the nose. I've gone ahead and I've sewn on the ears with that tail. And then I've gone and I've worked on the body a little bit. So you can see where I've sewn on the tail, the little pom-pom. I'm going to turn this over and you can see how I just basically sewed on the front paws and then the back paws, as you can see there. Now, I've already gone ahead and done this hind part of the leg. And just to show you what I do with this side, I'm going to attach the other hind part of the leg, just like right about there. And I'm going to sew around as I did with the first one, but I'm going to leave a small opening. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to lightly stuff that with a little bit of polyfill just to give it a little extra shape, if you will. And then once I finish that, I'm then going to take my head and I'm going to sew my head on into place. And what that gives me is this wonderful little bunny basket, this miniature bunny basket. These work up fairly quickly. They're perfect as a cute little basket. You can put a little plant in there. There's lots of things you can use this for. You can use it for just a little catch-all for things. You can throw in your stitch markers, whatever. I mean, it's just a great little holiday basket that's perfect for the Easter season or anyone who just likes rabbits. Okay, guys, thanks for joining me for this video today. It's been great fun as usual, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.